I want to talk to you about my dog, Jake. Raise your hand if you've met Jake. Yeah, I thought many of you. Joyce knows him intimately. Joyce has slept with Jake on more than one occasion. Who's that? Yes, Mary has as well. That's right. That's right. Yes. This is going in a totally different direction than I had planned. Here's what I want you to know about my buddy Jake. And I love my dog, and he's with me pretty much all the time. I'm glad that it's cooling off now because that means he can go with me in my car anywhere I go because he loves riding in the car, he loves staying in the car. And a few years ago when I was scuba diving in Jamaica, we were scuba diving along, and a remora came after us. Raise your hand if you know what a remora is. It's one of those sucker fish that attaches itself to sharks, and that's what it does. It attaches itself to a larger entity, and it rides along and collects plankton and gets protected. But it's kind of weird because it's this snaky-looking thing with this sucker mouth coming at you, and it's coming at me while I'm diving, and it's going up my body like this, and and there was a woman next to me, and I could hear her every time it came near. She'd go, ee, ee, because it would just, you're 60 feet underwater, but you can still hear all this noise. But that's what these fish are designed to do. Well, I'm convinced that Jake is a remora. Because when we got Jake, we got him as a family dog. Me and Marty and Leah talked about it. We looked at lots of different dogs, and we found him, and he was a rescue. And Marty and I drove to Tennessee to get him. Took us a couple of days and everything. But after a very brief time, just a few days, Jake just all of a sudden looked at me and went, "You're the one." And he's with me that way all the time. He knows a lot of words, and one of them he knows is move, and another one he knows is space, because he just is under me all the time. Now, I can look at Jake and I can think, you are so neurotic. What is wrong with you? Why don't you get over yourself? Or I could realize that Jake is a recipe. He is the outcome of a recipe. He was a particular breed that's raised because they're intelligent and pretty calm by two people who had other dogs that were anything but that. Little, small, aggressive, yappy dogs. And here he's a very laid-back, cool dude about the size of a cocker, black dog. And these little dogs are at him all the time, just torturing this poor dog. So Jake really now, he's 11 years old, he doesn't like dogs. I'm not kidding you. He likes people, but he doesn't like dogs. When I take him to the groomer, and y'all probably know his groomer, Magdalena. She works out here regularly. She does yoga here regularly. When I take him to Magdalena, she just kind of lets the dogs run around the place while she's working, and they say, okay, it's your turn, like this and all this. And she's got kennels and everything, but she doesn't use them. Well, when I put Jake in there, there's usually 3 or 4 other dogs. Jake looks and goes, there's a dog crate, and runs into it like I'm safe, I'm on base. I bring all this up as a metaphor for what I want to teach you this morning, and that is based on a book that I'm reading. And the book is called Insecure in Love by Dr. Becky, hyphenated last name. I can't remember it, but it's called Insecure in Love. And to me, it's helping me crack the code to relationships, not just my relationship with Marty and with my daughter and with my dog, but more importantly, with myself. Here's something that I never fully embraced, and you may just go, duh, blinding flash of the obvious, and I'm okay with that. But something struck me, and that is that human beings must always have an attachment figure. An attachment figure. Typically, as you're growing up, it's whom? Yeah, I get it. I'm a dad, but you can say mom. We all know that's true. It's mom, period, You fall down. Leah wants to go out and play baseball with me, blah, 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 blah. But when she falls down, mom! We're attached to our moms. Now, what we should be doing is embracing the fact that we're always going to be attached to how many individuals? One. We're always going to have, my buddy used to say it's that person that if you got arrested in Mexico for an undue reason, that one phone call would be to that person, and you know that person would spend the rest of their lives getting your behind out of prison. We all need one. Who is your one? Your goal, our goal as individuals should be to go from being the one with our moms to bouncing around a little bit, one here, one there, back to mom. Bounce around a little bit more, back to mom, maybe to a good friend, but ultimately to an intimate partner, ideally. So I want you to realize, first and foremost, the gravity of our relationships, that truly our connection to all humanity, to God and to ourselves, comes through one other human being. Ooh. You thought you wanted to be selective when you picked out a partner before. So let's say you're already in a relationship. It's interesting because we all attach to someone through two characteristics. There are only two characteristics, and this is how we attach to people. And this is what blew me away. And by the way, you're going to discover this morning how you attach to other people. And chances are it's going to sting. Because unless you had very, very, very healthy parents, and I mean emotion. Yeah, I know, go ahead and laugh now. Yeah, I'm like, pfft. Why do you think I have a job? I swear, that's my thing. My childhood was so messed up, and I spent the rest of my life trying to figure it out. I'm getting new business cards made, and I want to get LSU FSO as my initials at the end. Look stuff up, figure stuff out. But it's because my life was so... Remember I said Jake was a recipe? You're a recipe. And it's okay. We got to know where we are before we figure out where we're going. So the two characteristics that, believe it or not, we use to connect with other people are, number one, anxiety. Anxiety. That's the first characteristic we use. And the second characteristic we use to connect with other people is avoidance. Now, would you have ever suspected that? This is how I connect to my spouse, through anxiety and avoidance. You do, in various ways and in various combinations. There are two options. There are two things, so there are various options. First of all, we have, what is this? High anxiety combined with high avoidance, right? So say it with me. High anxiety, high avoidance. This is a fearful attachment style. This is, I've always got something a little bit wrong with me, and you've always got something a little bit wrong with you, and boy, do I sure notice it and everything, but I wouldn't dare mention it because you might run away from me. You might leave me. For me to stay attached to you, remember, this is all about that attachment figure and attaching to people. I'm afraid. I see stuff that bugs me, but I wouldn't dare talk about it. I wouldn't talk about it. Are you kidding me? Say something. I see some of you feeling just a little uncomfortable and squirming. Good. We'll get to me in a minute. That's not mine. Do you understand? Fearful. What is fearful? Fearful is what? High anxiety and high avoidance. Lots of stuff wrong. Ain't gonna talk about it, all right? Now we get to me. You ready? What is this? High anxiety. What is this? Low avoidance. I've always got something bugging me, and I'm going to tell you about it. I have always got something. Alex is back there going, well, finally, after 8 years of working with him, I understand it. That is truly how I connect with people. I will walk in to a room to look for something that's possibly wrong so I'll have an excuse to talk to somebody. And I know it's neurotic, and I'm reading this book and I'm going, man, I am messed up. But I'm about 1/4 of the people on the planet. And that's what I have to keep remembering, okay? When we talk about you, if you're that fearful style, that high anxiety and high avoidance, it's okay. When we talk about me, it's okay. High anxiety, always something, you know? Low avoidance, boy, I'm going to talk to you about it. And that's how people like me connect, you know? And if there's nothing particular going on in the room, I'll bring up something having to do with the news or with the world. You see people like this on Facebook too. This is when I go out and speak, I talk about the number one reason people complain is to get attention. The number one reason I complained for so long was to get attention. So what are our combinations? We've got fearful, which is a combination of and high avoidance. Then we've got, my style is called preoccupied. 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 Because I'm always and low avoidance. Low avoidance. This is how I connect. Okay. So then we have, let's see if I can get this right. High avoidance and low anxiety. Say it again. High avoidance, low anxiety. This is the dismissive attachment style. This is, nothing's wrong, never is, and if it was, I sure as hell wouldn't tell you about it. That's my beautiful Marty. And we talk about it, that's just her. Nothing's wrong, everything's fine, everything's good. You know, a car could hit her and she'd be lying there going, I'm fine. All I need is to chant and put some lavender on it, and I'm fine. But I certainly wouldn't tell anybody, and I'm not going to impose on anyone. And again, it's a recipe. It's all how we come up as a result of our parents. People like me who are high anxiety, low avoidance, man, I was starved for attention. I wanted attention as a kid so bad. Because just at the age when I became sentient at about 3, and my mom said I was fat from birth. And so there's all these pictures of this corpulent little roly-poly. And then my little brother, as soon as I'm like, I'm alive at about 2.5, he comes along and he's just this gorgeous blue-eyed, you know, and I'm just like, whew. So for me, it's to get attention, you know, okay? For people who grew up in households where maybe things weren't safe, maybe you didn't talk, maybe you got hit, hurt, scared, whatever, low anxiety, low avoidance. Excuse me, low anxiety, high avoidance. That's what we were just talking about. Low anxiety, high avoidance. Everything's okay. And even if it was, I'm not going to talk to you about it. So I'm not going to ask you if you've discovered your style yet. My guess is you have, because I'm going to tell you what we're all striving for. Anybody know what the last combination is? Low, low. That's exactly right. Low what? Low avoidance. This is called the secure attachment style. This is called the secure attachment style. Low anxiety, low avoidance. Low anxiety, low avoidance. Everything's okay, pretty much. And if it isn't, I'll let you know. How would you like to be in a relationship with somebody like that? Wouldn't that take all the stress, fear, and concern out of your relationship if you just knew that everything was okay? Not one of these, are you okay? I'm fine. If you just knew that if there was something that you had done blindly but lovingly, benignly but ignorantly, that this person would say, hey, please, and you'd go, Okay. The thing is that most of us don't feel alive unless we're somewhat in struggle and in pain. This is called hyperactivating strategies. People with unhealthy attachment styles always feel like they've got to have a little something going on. And they also tend to argue with people a lot in their own heads. Do you do that? Do you have these grand fights with other people? I do it. And I'm working on it because that proves to me that my attachment style needs work still. The opposite of hyperactive is peaceful calm. That's what we're going for. Peaceful calm. We're going for secure. We're going for what? Low and low avoidance, okay? By the way, if you're looking for somebody the only way, by the way, to have a secure attachment style, you ready for this? Is to be in a relationship with someone who has a secure attachment style. And there's only like 3 of them. So I have a suggestion, and that is that, as Khalil Gibran said, your parents weren't your parents. They were life's living bow from which you as arrows were sent forth. God is your parent. And hopefully, your God is. And, oh, you can have one of these gods. There's people on TV screaming about them all the time right now. Usually they have much better hair than I do. Okay, send your money. God is angry. Ha! Low avoidance. But they chose that God. I don't know about you, but I choose to have a God who's kind of chill about everything. And no matter what I do, he goes, "You're cool, dude. I love you." You know what? Choose that God. And that's how you get to choose a secure attachment style. Okay? Grab somebody's hand. Let's seal this in prayer. Infinite Spirit, we give thanks for the opportunity to connect with human beings that are just a representation of you. And so we seek out that highest expression of you in others, knowing that we can only attract it by calling forth it in ourselves. Let us be peace. Let us be calm in our relationships. And as we are, we free our relationships to be deeper, stronger, and everlasting. And so it is. Amen.